In this video, I will talk about style of writing CSS that can cause you a lot of troubles. I see it sometimes in code reviews and usually ask the person who wrote the styles like that to refactor it. So let's take a look at this example. It's a logo carousel component from one of the previous videos. It's written in BEM and I changed it a little bit for this video to demonstrate the style of writing that I'm talking about. Notice how elements use ampersand symbol to concatenate class names. So nested elements inherit the parent's block name. I have to note that this is not vanilla CSS. You would typically find styles written like this in projects that use Sass or PostCSS or another preprocessor or postprocessor. So just something to keep in mind. Now, before I jump into why I think this style of writing should be avoided, let's look at why it may seem like a good idea to write styles like that. Well, it looks clever because it avoids repeating the block name, which is helpful with them since it can get wordy sometimes. It also looks useful for renaming the block. You just change the name once and all the elements inside update automatically. Some might find it easier to read, which is a matter of opinion, but I'll still count that as a plus. Now, why I think you should avoid writing styles like this? Well, let's start with the fact that this is not vanilla CSS, and these need style declarations will later compile into regular class names. So we're not saving bandwidth here, not writing the parent selector all the time. But that's not the real problem. The real problem is that when you write styles like this, the final class names do not appear anywhere in your code base, which means you won't be able to search for those class names. And being able to search for a class name is a big deal. Refactoring gets harder and more likely to cause mistakes because you have to follow styles through complex rules by hand. Plus, if you try to remove an element and can't find the class name through search, you might end up with dead styles which clutter your code. This also becomes a problem for new engineers or even you in the future because the first step when you want to change something on the project that you don't know is usually to open the inspector, copy the class name of the element you want to change, and search for it in the code base. Yeah, you'll probably find it after a while, but searching for things shouldn't be this hard. Imagine if you spend 5 minutes trying to locate a class name in the code base, you get frustrated, and then eventually you find it. Your first thought probably won't be, wow, this is so smartly written. You'll probably think, why the... Anyway, so to wrap it up, I recommend avoiding this pattern altogether and just write CSS class names normally, because as your projects become more complex and you join bigger teams and work with other people, it's way more important to write code that's straightforward to understand, that's simple, that's easy to find. So keep things simple and you'll avoid a lot of headaches in the future.